cities and towns across the country celebrated America's 250th anniversary, a bipartisan initiative mandated by Congress, I should say. America250 was striving for what the organization called 350 for 250.
The goal was to engage all 350 million Americans in the commemoration of the country's milestone. Joining us now is Reginald Brown. He's a commissioner for America250 and also a principal at GTS Securities. I want to ask you, I use the past tense there, but that may not be accurate because I understand this is an ongoing effort. Just because, you know, if you didn't see something this week, this is a year-long, multi-year, multi-month celebration. You guys are trying to get 350 million Americans to take part.
Well, good morning. I would say mission achieved. Yesterday was amazing. We interred a time capsule yesterday in Philadelphia that will be opened up 250 years from now. So I think it's ongoing because I think the last event will be 250 years from now when we open a time capsule. But yes, this is an ongoing endeavor. We have 4 or 5 things planned that will conclude over the next couple of years.
You know, something we've been focused on here is this schism between your organization. Again, I want to emphasize an organization that was created by Congress back during the Obama administration to commemorate this anniversary, and this other group, more nascent, just a few months old, that the Trump administration created. That's Freedom 250. And I wonder if you could help us, help our viewers, help our listeners understand the distinction between these two things. My understanding is that in the immediate run-up to yesterday's commemoration, Freedom 250 took a lot of the oxygen maybe out of the celebrations that were taking place here. How has that played out in real terms? You as a commissioner, how have you seen that play out, having these two organizations kind of doing work on the same issue, on the same commemoration?
Well, look, my view, when you have two organizations that are trying to include all 350 million Americans, mission achieved. You know, I didn't see it as competition. I saw it as a broadening of the umbrella to include more people. America250, we were focused on, for example, America Gives, where we have cataloged 39 million volunteer hours year to date. And then we also started Giving Forth, where we're trying to change philanthropy and make the 4th of July a day of giving to nonprofits. And so with Freedom 250, you know, President Trump and his group wanted to do things like ultimate fighting on the White House lawn. And then, you know, just things that we could not do. And so I saw it as a broadening, not competition. And then an opportunity to gauge all 350 Americans based on what do they want to do.
Picking up on the money side of this, I know there was some reporting back in June that your organization didn't get the amount of funding that it was promised. And I'm curious if that's kind of something that's shaken out well here in the last few weeks, or are you still operating with a deficit relative to what you thought you were going to be able to get from the federal government?
Well, fortunately, we have great sponsors like Stellantis, Coca-Cola, and you know, just a broad range of consumer companies that stepped in and helped us fill the gap that we did not get from the federal government. But this is also was a public-private partnership that we weren't depending 100% on the federal government in the first place. And so were some of the monies diverted into Freedom 250? Absolutely. That was well documented. But was it a difficulty for us? We got over it. And so I think that, you know, the celebrations happened yesterday, amazing fireworks in Washington, D.C., amazing block party in Los Angeles last night. And so if I think about just the overarching opportunities, you know, mission achieved.
Was there anything you would have liked to have seen had you gotten that full tranche of government funding? Was there anything that you think you would have liked to have done but were unable to do?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we had a whole list of technical ideas that we wanted to unravel, and some of them were pretty big and bold, and some were just, you know, weren't able to achieve. But I think, look, as you plan for 10 years, we were in planning stages for 10 years. And then as we got down to, let's say, the last 25%, the last 2.5 years, we started to understand what can be achieved based on money, but also time and talent. And so I'm not going to focus on just what could have happened. I'm pretty happy about America's Field Trip and how we included children to get behind the scenes in some of the nation's largest and most treasured treasures so they can experience that. That will live on beyond this period of time because we're going to endow that. And so it can continue with other partners into our state and country parks. And so they can participate there. So there are a lot of great things. I think we spent a lot of time contrasting between America250, which was an act of Congress, and then Freedom 250, which was an act from the White House starting October 2025. And you just can't beat when you plan something for 10 years versus something that just came through executive order based on our request, actually, because we wanted to work with the various agencies.
Last question to you. I think a lot of our audience knows you as the godfather of ETFs. I'm curious, sort of, when you were offered this position as a commissioner on this organization's board, what was appealing to it about you? What does this anniversary mean to you in the minute that we have left with you?
Honestly, this is an opportunity, I think, to bring all Americans together. And I'm also board chairman of Creative Capital, which endows, funds artists. And this is an opportunity to let this nation be led by artists and their views. So this is really about, artists and the nation creating memory. So think about it. In 1976, at the 200th at the bicentennial, you can think about a song or some emotion that drew everyone back to that time period. And this is the same time period. So this is a fun time. And I think bringing business, art, philanthropy all together, what I brought to the commission is just that.